Morning, everyone. It's Monday. It's the last Monday of November as well. So we're coming into Christmas month. And I love Christmas. And let me know if you're watching this and you love Christmas, because I think this year more than ever, we're all like super excited about Christmas. So what better way to wrap up November than to get ready for December? So that's what we are doing today. I'm going to be talking about how to set up why you should set up some Christmas incentives for your team, how to do it, and what change that is going to drive in your business. So keep watching if you want to find out more about that. As you know, we have been live at 9 o'clock every day through lockdown number 2 here in the UK. So if you have been joining me every morning, then a big hello and welcome back. And if you're here joining me, please say hello in the comments. It's how I know you're watching. Myself and Pirate Pete would absolutely love that. So if you have been following me every morning, or if you're just joining me for the first time today and you'd like to grab all the good stuff, then we're actually going to stick it all into a really easy to reference, quick hints and tips ebook. So if you click on the link above, you will go on the wait list for that, and you'll receive that early Christmas present from me as soon as we finish these lives. So it's great to see you here. As I said, we're going to talk about Christmas incentives. So I'm going to put 10 minutes on the clock. Here we go. To talk about why you should be doing this and what it's going to change for you. So the first thing is, why on earth should you be thinking about Christmas incentives? Well, I think the first thing is, let's get really practical. It's a really short month. Let's be honest. Some people will be finishing for Christmas as early as 18th of December. That will be their last day, because people quite often, especially this year, have still got holiday left. So they're stacking it into that Christmas period. So for you and your sales team, that potentially means that you've got a much smaller window in which to make a month's worth of sales. Equally, depending on what industry you're in, some businesses don't open back up between Christmas and New Year, or if they do, they're on a skeleton staff. So it restricts your opportunity to sometimes get to the right person and get to those decision makers. Now, there can be some good things about that, which I am going to mention later on, but let's just think about something that we need to maybe be thinking about and supporting our teams with. So the other thing is that people get really distracted. You know, I mean, there's so much going on, and people are trying to wrap up their business for the year. They're trying to plan for next year. They're trying to, eat the mince pies. They're trying to do all their personal stuff. They're trying to put the Christmas tree up, all this thing. There is a lot going on. So people are busy, busy, busy. So even if sometimes it might seem like business has slowed a little bit, actually individuals are quite often busier than ever by the time they're trying to deal with all of those things. And let's be honest, it's dark days. The days are dark. And for that reason, people quite often find that they're working slightly shorter days. People are getting in at 9 o'clock and they're finishing at 5 o'clock just because it's that bit harder to get out of bed in the morning. Or is that just me? I don't know. Let me know. Tell me in the comments. Do you sometimes find it a bit harder when it's dark days? So for all these reasons, we'd be crazy not to accept that actually to pull in a whole month's target in less time, when the people that we'll potentially want to speak to and work with are potentially busier than ever, actually, we might need a little bit of help and support along the way for that. And that's where Christmas incentives can really be your friend, because not only are those things that I've just described happening in other businesses, they're probably happening in your business as well. So what you want to think about is, okay, then how do I energize my team? How do I ensure that on those dark mornings, my team are getting to their desk at 9 o'clock, ready to go, full of excitement and enthusiasm for the day ahead? I mean, we'd all like that, wouldn't we? We all want to get up in the morning and go to work and feel excited and enthused. And this is where I think incentives can be really valuable for you. I think that this is also where sometimes people go, well, people have got commission. Do we really need to do an incentive as well? I think the commission and incentives is a little bit different. Commission is a longer term thing that you're maybe working to over a month or a quarter. And it's the same thing day in, day out. Actually, an incentive is a short, sharp blast. You can run a daily incentive. You can run an incentive for a week. You can run it for the 2 weeks up to Christmas, whatever. The benefit of an incentive is it's entirely in your hands. And what I used to love when I used to manage teams was the freedom that gave me. It meant that if I felt my team needed a little bit of a boost, I could stick an incentive on really, really quickly to actually boost the mood and get some extra productivity going. And I think that's a real opportunity for you. So what should you be thinking about? Well, I mean, the first thing that I think is, what do you want to incentivize? And this is really important. Do you want to incentivize a result? So for example, do you want to incentivize a result like selling more of product X, or getting meetings for, sales rep B, or whatever it might be? What is it that you want to incentivize? And I think I would think really closely about that, because the more focused that you can be with your incentive, the better result you're going to get, because all that you're really doing is getting your team to really hone in on that. So think about what's going to be most valuable to you. And remember, it doesn't have to be the same all the time. So quite often I used to run an incentive over an extended period of time, like maybe over a couple of weeks. But actually, I would change up what the prizes were for over that period of time to keep everybody engaged and to make sure that I was actually getting a wide spread of activity while having short bursts of focus on just one thing. Morning, Nick. First person to say hello. I can see there's a couple of people in the room, but you're the first one to show the love. So very good morning. So think about, what is it you want to incentivize? Is it a result? Or is it an activity? Because this is the other thing that it might be. On the one hand, it might be, the first person to make X number of sales of product A. The other thing, it could be the first number of people, the first person to make 50 phone calls, or whatever it might be. So think about, is it the result or the activity? Or is it a combination of both? Hi, Tom. Okay, we've got one group of people joining me this morning. That's great. I'm feeling very loved. You can tell it's a Monday morning. Everyone's having a slow start this morning, I think. Okay, so they're things you need to think about. Which things you want to incentivize? And then you want to think about what is achievable, because the whole point of incentives is to get people's energy up. So you want them to be short, sharp, achievable, so that people can get that taste of success, because it's actually that feeling of success that really helps people jump on and continue to perform towards that much bigger goal, which is, of course, what you've got your commissions linked to. So what about the prize? Well, I'm really big on prizes and making it really real and tangible. And I think this is super important. People need to see what the prize is. The thing with commission is you see it in your pay packet a few months down the line, which is great. It's great. But, today, wouldn't it be nice to think you're going to go home with something? Wouldn't it be nice to think that you could get a £50 note, or a bottle of beer, or a bottle of wine, or a holiday voucher, or whatever it might be? Think about, how can you bring this to life and make it real? And what's really nice about Christmas is you've got a ready-made theme. So consider how you can get people really bought into this. When I used to run teams, I would go in early morning. I used to decorate up all the office. So people would come in and be like, oh, what's going on? And I'd have a big table with whatever prizes and whatever the incentive was all laid out, because people get excited. It's like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? So think about how you can do it. Now, this is a bit more challenging because people are working from home, but teams that I've worked with this year, we've done things like we've put a pack in the post so they can actually set up their own space. Hi, Bev, morning. I'm talking about Christmas sales incentives. It's very exciting. So, think about, can you send a kit so everyone can join in from their house for your Zoom calls, whatever it might be? Think about how you can make sure that it's a really inclusive incentive, so that people either in the office or working from home or wherever they might be can actually join in with that. And the more you can make it something that people feel part of, the better, because it makes them far, far more inclusive. And I think the other good thing is that once you've got your theme like that, that starts to lay the groundwork for what your incentive might be. So you can do this in two ways. You can either have like one big prize or lots of smaller prizes, maybe like a grand prize. Now, personally, I always preferred that route. And the reason I preferred the route of like many opportunities to win is because then it means if you've got a top performer, it's not like everybody else then goes, oh, there's no point doing this. They're going to win because they always win. Your role as a manager is to motivate a team. And because of that, it's really important to make sure that everyone can play and everybody has the opportunity to actually access some of what's going on. And that was one of the reasons why quite often I would switch up the criteria, because sometimes the person who is best at making the most calls, therefore generating the most activity, might not be the person who made the most sales. But equally, there might be somebody then sat in the middle who actually did the most talk time, or maybe the most visits or the most lead generation. So think about what different things can you pull into this so that everybody has an opportunity to be rewarded for their hard work and their strengths and feel like they can be part of the game while stretching and continuing to be motivated to deliver that little bit more. So what are some suggestions for Christmas? Well, I've got 3 ideas for incentives that you might want to steal. And these are all ones I've run before, and they are all super simple. The first one is the snowman game. Come on, it's Christmas. You've got to get with it. And what that is, it's all about, you simply give everybody a cardboard cutout of a snowman with circles drawn all over it. The idea being that every day they have the opportunity to win a cotton ball to actually stick in. And when their snowman is full, they get a prize. Pirate Pete was really liking that one, you see. Hi, Alison. So that could be one way of doing it. The second way that you could do it is you could do something like visiting Santa. This is one that I always really like because it's a game. Now, this is really nice because you play the game with the team. So what that means is you give them various things that they get a point for. And for every point, they get a roll of the dice. So it might be that at lunchtime or at the end of the day, you get everyone together or get them on Zoom, whatever it might be. And I used to draw up a game board on a whiteboard, but whatever it might be that you're using, you do it on a bit of cardboard. You can even use like an old game thing if you've got one lying around the place. And literally, for each point they get to roll the dice. What's really nice about this is this can mean is that you might only have one go, but you might get to move 6 spaces, whereas somebody else might get 6 rolls and get 6 ones and move the same distance. And actually, quite often what I used to do is build in snakes and ladders in there. What's brilliant is it meant that as long as you were earning points, even if it was at a lower rate, then you were still in the game. You still had a chance to win. It's also really good fun when that person who's tearing towards the front of the board all of a sudden hits a snake and comes all the way down. So think about how can you interact with that. You know, you could do like a snow slide for that instead of a snake if you want to make it Christmassy. And then when they get over the finish line, they get to visit Santa and pick a wrapped prize, a wrapped present from underneath the Christmas tree. So again, it could be that if they're working from home, you could put that in the post to them. But it's really exciting because it's wrapped. So what is it? What's in the box? Is it exciting? Is it boring? You just don't know. Or the last idea that I really like is actually building a Christmas stocking. And I think this is quite a nice idea for when you are working remotely, because what it means is that every morning you can look at how many points people have got by making the calls or whatever it is that they've been doing. And you can pick the number of prizes based on the number of points and pop it in a stocking for them. What's nice about that is you can then actually package that stocking up and send it to them for Christmas. What a lovely way to not only reward them with their work, but also they can get to see every morning just how full everybody's stockings are. And again, if you're doing it randomly with little wrapped gifts, nobody's going to know exactly what people are getting. So you can say, look, in this pile there are, you know, £5, £10 notes. There are some oranges. There's some sweets. There's, you know, some Santa dealy boppers, you know, whatever it might be. But the point is to keep it really fun. Oh, Bev, I'm pleased you love this. This is like anyone who's ever been on one of my teams knows that we do this all the time. And especially the back end of the year. The back end of the year is great because you get Halloween, then you get bonfire night, and then you get Christmas. It's like boom. And then you come back and you get Valentine's Day. Then you're into Easter. I mean, trust me, I can just keep going. So think about it. You've got December is just around the corner. It's starting tomorrow. You've probably got till the 18th. And yes, there's some benefits there because sometimes you can grab people's attentions when they're maybe a little bit quieter on their day to day. But you know what? It's still a shorter period in which to get a month's worth of work out of. So think about how are you going to incentivize your team? Right. I would love to know how this goes and also what incentives you're setting for your team this year. So let me know, drop me a DM, or if you want some other ideas, I love talking incentives. Literally love it. So up my street. Then hop on the DMs and I'm more than happy to do that with you. So thanks for joining me. If you want all the hot tips and tricks, remember to sign up for the ebook. And a couple of other things. Tomorrow at 9 a.m, We are on the 1st of December, and I'm going to be talking about sales prep for 2021. And that's stuff that you can do between now and the 1st of January. Well, let's be honest, we're not going back before the 4th, but between now and January to actually set yourself up for a fantastic start to 2021. So make sure you're here tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, because there's going to be some really good stuff for you to think of in there, and not the stuff that you're seeing on all the plan for 2021 sites. This is the stuff that you as a sales leader should really be thinking about to instantly start to change your results for next year. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 9 o'clock right here on LinkedIn Live. Thanks so much for coming today, and have a sales-tastic day. Speak to you soon.